Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I've got a story for you it's one of those things that sticks with you. It happened a few weeks ago, and honestly, I'm still trying to make sense of it. I live in a pretty standard apartment building, maybe 12 floors high, built sometime in the late 80s. Nothing special, just your typical brick-and-mortar place. It has two elevators, both equally slow and creaky, but they get the job done. I'm on the third floor, so most of the time, I just take the stairs. It's faster, and frankly, I prefer the exercise. But last Tuesday, I was coming home with a mountain of groceries. We're talking 3 giant reusable bags, plus a case of sparkling water. There was no way I was hauling that up 3 flights of stairs. So, I waited for the elevator. The left one arrived with a familiar groan and a shudder. I shuffled inside, juggling my bags, and pressed the button for my floor, number 5. Wait, did I say I live on the 3rd floor? My bad. I moved up to the 5th floor about 6 months ago. Sorry, my brain's a little scattered thinking about this. Anyway, I pressed 5. The doors slid shut, sealing me inside the little metal box. The elevator lurched upwards. The 3 on the display was lit, then it went dark. For a split second, there was nothing. And then a new number lit up. It was the number 4. And it wasn't the usual soft white light. It was a deep, angry red. My first thought was that it was a technical glitch. An old elevator, weird wiring, probably a short circuit somewhere. That's what a logical person would think, right? The red 4 glowed for maybe 2-3 seconds at most. It felt like an eternity. There was no sound, no jolt, just this silent crimson number hanging in the air. I stared at it, my hand still clutching a bag of apples so tightly my knuckles were white. The strangest part was the feeling that came with it. It wasn't just confusion. It was a heavy, sinking dread, like the feeling you get when you realize you've forgotten something critically important. Then, just as quickly as it appeared, the red 4 vanished. The display went dark again for a moment, and then the familiar white 5 lit up. The elevator dinged softly and the doors slid open onto my floor. I scrambled out, my heart hammering against my ribs. I practically ran down the hallway to my apartment, fumbling with my keys. Once I was safely inside with the door locked and the deadbolt thrown, I dropped my groceries on the floor and leaned against the door, just breathing. I kept replaying it in my head. The 3 going out, the darkness, the glowing red 4. The building doesn't have a 4th floor. It just doesn't. The floor plan is simple. Lobby, floors 2 and 3 are residential, and then the 4th floor is a double-height maintenance and structural space. It's completely inaccessible to residents. There's no button for it in the elevator. The stairwell doors on that level are permanently locked and marked "No access, utility only." So why did the elevator register it? And why was it red? I tried to brush it off. Glitch. Power surge. My mind playing tricks on me. I spent the rest of the evening trying to distract myself, but the image of that glowing red number was burned into my mind. The next day, I couldn't resist. I decided to take the elevator down when I left for work. I got in, pressed L for the lobby, and watched the display like a hawk. 5, then a brief pause, and then 3. No red 4. Nothing out of the ordinary. I felt a wave of relief. It must have been a one-time fluke. I was just tired, stressed from work, letting my imagination run away with me. For a whole week, everything was normal. I used the elevator every day, almost daring it to do something weird again, but it behaved perfectly. I started to feel silly for ever being scared, but my curiosity got the better of me. I started asking around, subtly at first. I'd chat with my neighbors in the mailroom or by the trash chute. "Hey, ever notice any weird quirks with the elevators?" I'd ask casually. Most people just complained about how slow they were. But then I spoke to Mrs. Gable from 7A. She's lived in the building since it first opened. When I asked her, her friendly expression tightened just a little. She lowered her voice and said, "You mean the 4th floor?" My blood ran cold. "You've seen it too," I whispered. She nodded slowly. She told me it's been happening for years, but only ever in the left elevator. A flash of a red 4. She said her husband, who passed away a few years ago, used to call it the ghost in the machine. He was an engineer and tried to explain it away as a residual charge in an old display panel, but even he admitted it was strange that it was always the same non-existent floor. Mrs. Gable told me something else, something that made this whole thing feel a lot less like a simple electrical issue. About 20 years ago, there was a man who lived on the 5th floor. He was a reclusive guy, kept to himself. One night, there was a fire in his apartment. It was contained quickly, but the smoke was thick. Panicked, he ran for the stairs, but the smoke was too dense. So he got in the elevator, the left one. The fire department records say the elevator malfunctioned due to the fire's heat affecting the electrical systems. It got stuck. They never specified where exactly, just that it was between the 3rd and 5th floors. They found him inside. He hadn't made it. Suddenly, the glitch didn't feel so random. I went down to the city archives. I'm not a detective, but I had to know more. It took hours of sifting through old building permits and incident reports. And then I found it. The original architectural plans for the building. My building. The plans were almost identical to how the building is now, with one crucial difference. On the initial draft, there was a 4th floor. It was labeled as a series of small, single-room apartments. But that plan was crossed out with red ink. A revision note in the margin cited budget cuts and a change to a double-height utility floor to save on costs and materials. The 4th floor was planned, designed, and then erased before it was ever built. So, what am I seeing? Is it just a ghost in the machine? A phantom signal in the elevator's old brain, remembering a floor that never was? Or is it something else? Is it connected to the man who died in that elevator, trapped between floors? Maybe he was trying to get to the 4th floor, confused by the smoke, pressing a button that wasn't there. Or maybe, just maybe, in those few seconds when the light turns red, the elevator isn't just showing a number. Maybe it's going somewhere, to a place that was erased, but somehow not entirely gone. I still take the stairs most of the time, but every now and then I have to use the elevator. And every time the 3 goes dark, I hold my breath, waiting to see what color the next number will be. What do you guys think? Have you ever experienced anything like this? A glitch in the matrix that felt like something more? Let me know your stories in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. It makes me feel a little less crazy. Thanks for listening to my story. If you enjoyed this and want to hear more strange tales, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. Stay safe out there, and maybe take the stairs. I'll see you in the next video.